Hey Gage, how's it going? Really good to see you again. For everybody who's watching, in case you don't know, Gage and I, we know each other, we like each other, and we're really looking forward to having a debate. It's been a while since we, I think we were talking about the death penalty a little while back. So I'm really looking forward to this debate, even though it's a kind of on a silly topic. And don't forget, you guys get to decide who wins, and the winner is going to go on to the quarterfinals. And then once one of us, I'm not saying it's going to be me, but it's probably going to be me. But once one of us advances to the finals, because it is going to be one of us, we'll have an opportunity to win a $400 prize. So your vote matters. All right, so let's just open up by, clarifying what this debate is really about. And so I kind of suspect, Gage, that where you're going to go with this is that Donald Trump probably would beat Joe Biden. And I'm going to concede that point. I think that Donald Trump has, a slight advantage when it comes to his height and weight. And I think that he probably would win. But the topic that we're debating, that you can see up here at the top, says Joe Biden could beat Donald Trump in a fight. And we're going to have some discussion back and forth here, but I really think that it is well within feasibility for Joe Biden to go ahead and hand Donald Trump his own head on a platter. So go ahead.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good deal. Yeah, so I just want to thank Yazan and everyone at Call for having this debate. I think it's an awesome topic. So, yeah, the question is, could Joe Biden beat Donald Trump in a fight? And, I was kind of leaning either way with this one. I think it would be a close fight no matter what. But I still feel that Donald Trump would win. If you were to have the fight at least 100 times, he would win, a clear majority of the time. So if we take away the semantics of could Joe Biden beat him, I think the odds are definitely in Trump's favor. And, like you were saying, his weight, his height, he's even younger. So those are just a couple of the points that, want to go off of. But then, we also have a long history of what his health has been. Because, like what his doctor has said, he is the best condition that any presidential candidate has ever been in history. So just a couple other points. But here, I'll let you start it off with how you think Joe Biden could put up a fight against Donald Trump, and then we'll go from there. Oh.
All right, there you go. Okay, so first of all, let's discuss their physical condition. So Donald Trump is right on the edge of morbidly obese. He went on the Dr. Oz show and, released his medical form, which was a recent exam from a physician. And what that found is that his weight and his height came out to a BMI of 29.5, and 30 is actually considered obese. So, we're discussing a weight advantage, but it's also a weight disadvantage. Donald Trump is going to be slower than Joe Biden. He's going to be winded more easily. He's going to get hot quicker. He's not going to have as much stamina. And quite frankly, I have some other things to go off of here, but I don't think that he is in as good physical shape underneath that weight as well. So I think Joe Biden probably has the advantage as far as speed and energy, even though he is 4 years older. But what do you think about the?
Well, the age is really close. I mean, it's like 70 versus 74. So for some people, it's probably not as much of a big deal. But hey, those extra 4 years when you're getting that old, that can make every bit of difference. Just being that much more tired. But, you were talking about stamina. And I do believe Donald Trump does actually have a good bit of stamina. because when he was on the campaign trail, he would do 4 or 5 rallies in a day, and a guy given his weight and his age, that's a lot. And he's going past his interns, just ready to go up and do the rallies and screaming to everyone, "Make America great again." I mean, I would go hoarse, and I know I would be tired, but he's able to keep doing it. I don't know what was driving him or what he was on, but he obviously has some kind of stamina, or at least some kind of supplement helping him keep going. So I think in a fight, he would certainly be able to keep going with Joe. Even if Joe could run circles around him, Trump would be hanging in there, man. And, also being that way, he can take those punches. There's no like direct blow to any muscle or bones or anything. He's got a little cushion for the pushing. So definitely able to take some blows, I believe, at least. And, I physically, you're right. He was, could be a little slower. You don't know how he is, about how he is underneath all that weight, but you never know. In a fight, when you have that much adrenaline pumping, anything can happen. Anything can happen. But now, how about we turn into some experiences? Like, what has prepared Donald Trump and Joe Biden for this altercation? Trump, as we could see clearly from YouTube videos that have led to the election, he has experience in WWE. He took down Vince McMahon in like a full tackle and chokehold. I don't know if you saw that video, but that was pretty incredible. And sure, he had some help from Steve Austin, but I mean, Trump just came in and knocked him out. And when I look over at Joe, all I see him doing is just eating ice cream all day long. I mean, granted, I can't really talk too much about Donald Trump's diet, but Joe Biden, he loves that ice cream, man. He loves that ice cream. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Yes, Joe Biden definitely does love the ice cream. However, we should keep in mind that Donald Trump recently confessed that he can't seem to stop eating fast food. So as far as diet, I think they're really close to even. As far as age, I think they're pretty close to even. When it comes to weight, they're definitely not close to even. But I can see how that could go in Donald Trump's favor as well as count against him. We have a whole lot of things. So let's focus on physical strength and, kind of their fighting prowess. Now, I'm probably going to lose the debate just because I say this, but WWE isn't real. I think I'm going to get all the down votes just for saying that. But the WWE does not count as a real fighting experience. And so I don't think that actually counts in Donald Trump's favor. He's an entertainer. He did that, to extend his brand. And, like you said, even in that fight, he had some help. So anyway, I want to read here a quote from Donald Trump as far as what he thinks is exercise. And this was when he was recently on Dr. Oz and released his medical stuff. He said, "Well, it's a lot of work, when I'm speaking in front of 15 to 20,000 people and I'm up there using a lot of motions. I guess in its own way, it's a pretty healthy act." Like, that is something that Donald Trump considers exercise. And it wasn't only on the Dr. Oz show. He also recently was on the Joe Piscopo show, again, during the campaign season. And he said, "Well, the first thing I do, Joe, is I don't think about it." And they're discussing his stamina and his physical health. "The first thing I do is I don't think about it, okay? You don't think about it because if you think about it, you say, wait a minute, this can't be done." So he's saying what he's doing is impossible. He's not exercising. He's not being healthy. He's not being fit. So a little bit of power of positive thinking, I guess. I feel good and I work hard and I don't work out like you. And he's specifically referring to the host, Joe Piscopo, right now. "People don't know what a strong guy you are with lifting all the time, right? I've never been into it so much, but I have plenty of friends who are." He seems to think that his friends exercising somehow will, transform him into somebody who's fitter and more, who's more able, who is stronger. Whereas you may or may not have seen this, but Joe Biden released a Vine where he was curling 30 pounds with one arm and just doing it nonstop, steady as anything. And he said, I do 1 million of these a day. Now, the million curls was undoubtedly an exaggeration, but he definitely had great form, and he was doing it very smoothly. And I don't know if you do 30 pounds, it's definitely not nothing. So he's definitely not a frail old guy. So what are some of your thoughts as to the evidence?
Well, with the evidence you just presented, I have to go back to what Trump was saying before when he was running for president. He said what was going to make him good president was surrounding himself with really good people. And I assume, with his workout schedule, all he has to do is just surround himself with other guys who lift, and he does get stronger. I mean, that is his philosophy, right? When it comes to being president and policy, it must work with his workouts as well. It has to. Because, otherwise he wouldn't be as huge as he is, right? I mean, when he's in a suit up there, 6'3", I'm sure a lot of people think he lifts. And, all the dude bros who support Trump, they lift. So somehow their lifting power must translate over to him and give him the strength he needs. I'd be a firm believer in that. And, so far, I don't think your WWE comment has done anything as far as the votes. But, some people may be more enlightened. But, he did appoint Linda McMahon to the cabinet for, oh, my gosh, another vote just went. But Linda McMahon to his cabinet. And, I'm sure she knows lots of people who would be personal trainers for him. Granted, transferring over that ability to him. Now let's see. What else? What was that last point that you made as well?
Sure. Let me see. Well, the last point was that in this interview with Joe Piscopo, he said that I've never been into it. He's referring to weightlifting, but I have plenty of friends who are. And then I was contrasting that against Joe Biden, who recently did a Vine where he was flawlessly curling, 30 pounds with one arm, and not really straining to do it at all. Anyway.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about the Joe curling and everything. Granted, I saw a picture. I didn't see the Vine. I do curls too whenever I go to the gym. I don't do 30. I'm not good enough for 30. I usually stick to 20 just because I like to build up the lean mass. It's something at least. It's something. But, I'm wondering, have we gotten like actual certification that his form was good? He wasn't cheating. He wasn't trying to give into it. I'm just saying. I don't know if there's any been certification for that Vine other than if it was just clickbait. Maybe he's just trying to get views.
Well, obviously it was something of a PR thing. So, I guess Donald Trump doing WWE and Joe Biden doing lifting, they're both obviously doing that, to kind of reach out and improve their image. But, I'm going to tell anybody who's watching, go and watch that Vine and then come back here and vote, because you'll see that Joe Biden's form, he just does it perfectly. I wanted to read another quote here from Donald Trump, again, with the speeches being exercises part. He says, yesterday I spoke in front of thousands and thousands of people. It was very warm in the room, and I want to tell you, you're really working. That's really a workout sometimes. So he thinks that just because he's physically sweating from being in a warm room and making a speech, that counts as exercise. And it seems to me that he's not really in touch with reality when it comes to how physical fitness works.
Well, maybe that is his stance on physical fitness, but maybe we should look at what goes beyond physical fitness in a fight. Sometimes you just have to have the right mentality and the right attitude. And, when it comes to Donald Trump, he says we're going to get tired of winning. All he does is win every day, all day. We saw it with the presidential election. I certainly didn't call it, but he won. And I feel in a fight, he would just bring that same ferocity, that same drive to win. How it would turn out, I don't know. It would either be a very entertaining fight to watch, or it would be a very gross fight to watch. I don't know, because granted, he does say, just staying in front of a group of people, that is exercise. Either way, though, I feel like Donald Trump, with that ferocity and that drive to win, he would just use all of that mass that he has just to overpower Joe and just take him down and hold him down until the ref came in and just count 1, 2, 3. Assuming that we're doing a classic wrestling or an MMA type fight. Now, if we're doing till first knockout, I think it's going to be a little closer. Granted, I don't know if you want to start going into specifics of a fight or if you still want to go over attributes. Let me know what you're.
Yeah, I definitely think we can go into some specifics. I was assuming it'd be kind of an open fight where they can box, they can wrestle, whatever it is that they'll want to do, and then of course from the perspective of each of them, Donald Trump, what he would want to do is get his arms around Biden and land on top of him, just crush him underneath all that extra weight he's carrying. Whereas Biden would probably want to do, more of a boxing style, something like that. So I want to point something else out, and that is with regards to Donald Trump being just right on the edge of obesity. When he was on the Dr. Oz show, he told Dr. Oz that he wanted to lose 15 to 20 pounds, but that still puts him well above the line where you're overweight. And then he said the reason why it's difficult for him is because of how he lives. And so he's saying my lifestyle is unhealthy, and I haven't changed it, and that makes it hard for me to be healthy. So when he, again, I'm just circling back to how he is not a healthy person. Yes, he does seem to have stamina. I don't know whether it's just caffeine or meth. Okay, not meth. I'm not accusing the president of taking meth, Secret Service. But he basically, what I'm saying is that his lifestyle and his attitude toward his personal health is that it needs to take care of itself, and he's not maintaining it. And I think that that's going to work really against him in almost any format. If he is in a fight, he's going to have to end it quickly against.
I will have to agree with you there. If we do have a fight, Donald Trump would need it to end quickly. And again, that's just come with the overpowering of Joe. Assuming, like you said, open fight where they could do no rules other than simple, like no eye gouging, no crotch shots, any of that. Trump would need it to be quickly, and he would just need to overpower him, put Biden down, and take him down as quickly as he could, so that way he can lay down as many punches as he could. Now, if it's a long, drawn-out fight, Biden's probably going to have the game because, like you said, Biden would probably like the more boxing style. I don't know if he has the reach, but if he does, Biden would definitely want to go for that. He wouldn't want to go for a full wrestling type of fight. But I feel when it comes to martial arts, I don't know if you've ever taken any martial arts in your life. Like I did Taekwondo for a few years, and there was never really any wrestling involved. But I do know, like with football and everything growing up, Taekwondo, like I wanted to keep my distance and I wanted to lay down as many punches as I could. But when things are fast and you just need to make a move and you don't know what else to do, you just run your whole body into your opponent, you take him down. And with the mass that Donald Trump has, he would be able to do that so quickly. Be able to take him down, hold him down. And granted, if Joe could get out of it, I give Joe props, because I feel like that would be a really difficult accomplishment. I mean, Joe's no stranger to adversity. So we would have to see what would happen there. But now, going back to what you were saying before about the unhealthy lifestyle, maybe instead of looking at how traditional culture of fighters that we've seen with like MMA and athletes having extremely healthy diets and extremely healthy lifestyles. Maybe we turn this to another form of fighters, sumo wrestlers. Their job is to take in as many calories as possible, no matter what form, preferably usually high protein and multigrain. So yeah, they are somewhat healthy, but they take in as many calories as they can because all it is pushing that mass in that direction to take down their opponent. And again, I feel like that would be Donald Trump's strategy, just taking his mass and taking down Joe. And, as Joe, he is 4 years older, he may be a little more frail, unless that ice cream is giving him that extra calcium boost. But I'll let you take the.
Right. So first of all, I want to say thank you for bringing your time right back down about close to mine. I had gone on a little long-windedly, so I appreciate it. So that ice cream, reinforcing his bones. No, again, as far as diet, with the evidence that we have so far, I have to say it looks like it might be a toss-up. I mean, it seems like maybe Trump eats out a lot. It seems, he has explicitly said that he has a hard time giving up fast food. But it's more the attitude toward how health happens. Now, if Joe Biden had the same, we're assuming the same diet, and if he had the same diet, but he did not, and the same level of physical exercise, I really think that we would see evidence of that. I think Joe Biden would be kind of plump. But we actually, I don't know if you've ever seen a video of Donald Trump running, because he doesn't. But we actually have videos of Joe Biden running around the White House with President Obama, and we have videos of him, curling the stuff. So I really think that Joe Biden's attitude toward health means that he knows that he needs to take care of his body, and he's been consistently doing that over his 74 years. And over his 74 years, his activities have encompassed everything that Donald Trump has described as exercise. He's had to go on the campaign trail. He's had to make speeches in big auditoriums. And so I really think that he has the edge as far as physical fitness. And so he wouldn't want to engage in a sumo style fight. He'd want to, again, assuming that this is just kind of an open fight, we haven't really, forced it into a category of boxing or wrestling or sumo wrestling. If it's just kind of an open fight, he's not going to engage with Donald in that way.
Right. So yeah, when we keep talking about the physical attributes and health and everything, and we keep coming across diet and exercise, and it does tend to lean toward Joe's way. But let's look at another factor of fighting, the psychological side of this. And I mentioned this before about Trump having that winner mentality and always striving, he's going to win, and he's going to get tired of winning, but he keeps on winning. Let's talk about stress. I don't want to say anything bad about Joe, because Joe has lived a very hard life. He lost his wife and daughter at a very young age, and he had to raise his 2 boys for 7 years until he remarried. And that's very stressful. That does a lot to you physically and emotionally, even as you get older. And then being vice president on top of that, the amount of stress and how that weighs down on your body, it can't be healthy. I mean, we've seen how much Barack has aged. And granted, the stress level is going to be less on Joe than it would be on President Obama. But it's still got to be stressful, just knowing that you got to be ready to take that torch at any moment. Whereas Trump, his whole life, everything is secure. He's fine. All he has to focus on, next challenge, win it. Next challenge, win it. And the guy keeps on winning. Yeah, a couple of bankruptcies here and there, and a couple of lawsuits here and there. Whatever. His wealth keeps on growing. The guy is over $10 billion now, and he just keeps on winning. So I don't think stress has weighed down on his body as much as it may have Joe's. So Trump is not going to go in there with any extra baggage or this feel of I have to win, or else I'm just going to be so much more stressed out. No, he's like, I'm going to win this, and I don't care. I don't care what anyone else has to say. I am just going to do it. because that's the mentality that he has. He's just going to take advantage, mentally speaking. That's just the mental aspect of him being ready to go and ready to do this. And, you know, he's got his cheerleaders in the back because he surrounds himself with good people. Don't forget that point, because I'm assuming this is going to be like one of those classic fights with, you know, a ring of people around cheering their respective fighters on. So Trump's going to have the best people cheering him on and telling him, like, what all moves he needs to do.
Well, as far as the people, you know, let's imagine this as a pitched battle. So Trump or Biden on his side, he's got himself, he's got his family, he's got the Secret Service. But now Donald Trump has the Secret Service too, so I guess that doesn't really work. You know, if it's like this pitched battle and all these secret agents are blasting away at each other. But as far as mentality, I think that Joe is scrappier than Donald Trump. I think that he has a scrappier attitude toward life, and it's partly because of the harder things that he's had to deal with. And also, I have to keep bringing it back to health, because I really think that that's where my guy kind of has the advantage over Trump, is with a stressful life, or at least a more stressful life, and also obviously him taking care of himself physically, like that's self-evident in his appearance. That leads to it's contrasts against Donald Trump and a sedate, easy life. Now, the hardest thing Donald Trump has ever had to do is negotiate a bankruptcy. I mean, or a divorce. That's not really comparable to the sometimes physical struggles that Biden has had.
Well, yeah, divorce does weigh down on you, but I feel like for a lot of people, they're obviously the emotional aspect of divorce is a very big thing, but for Trump, it doesn't seem to affect him that much, except for possibly his first wife. For the other part of divorce is the financial aspect, and clearly that doesn't affect Trump at all. So, granted, yes, divorce, I'm sure it's a little bit stressful, but from what we've seen with Trump, I don't think divorce is of any of his concerns. I feel like losing a loved one that Joe has is a much, much more stressful experience. Now, oh, shoot, I lost my point that I was going to. Oh, scrappy. You were talking about Joe being scrappy. And again, with that, we're assuming, like, the way how I'm picturing the fight is Joe being kind of a little more elusive and trying to be a little more ranged. The scrappiness definitely works in his favor. So basically, we're definitely going to have a almost David versus Goliath type approach in this fight. I don't know if it's fair to call that because their ages are similar and their heights are pretty similar. The only thing that's really different is the weight and their style. We just know Joe's going to try to be a little more mental. He's going to try to play the mental game a little more and try to be a little more strategic. Whereas Trump, I think, is just going to come full force and just use all brawn. Granted, Trump is a businessman, so I'm sure he knows how to strategize just as much as the best of them. But I feel like the brawn is definitely going to be the major key factor in his strategy on how to win this fight. So now, if we want to go into, so we kind of covered the mental aspect, we kind of covered the physical aspect. Let's see, how do we picture this fight playing out? So if you want to talk about what you think Joe's strategy would be, or if you have any other points that you wanted to add on at the moment, we're coming down to the last few minutes now. I think we should just talk about how the fight would turn out and how we think our guys would win.
Right. Okay. So obviously I'm going first with Joe, and basically Joe is going to keep away from Trump. And from what we've seen, Joe is going to be able to do that. He's just going to keep going around, the edge of the cage. If it were MMA, he's going to walk around the boxing ring. He's just going to keep evading Trump. And then whenever they are getting close to each other, he's just going to hit him in the face as hard as he can. And I really don't know that Donald Trump, with the soft, easy life that he's had, and again, with as far as like the divorce and negotiating bankruptcies, what I was saying is that Donald Trump has had an easy life. He hasn't had to deal with the really tough stuff that Joe has, and so that's leads to Joe's scrappiness going in his favor. That was my argument there. It wasn't about, oh yeah, Donald Trump has had stresses in his life too. It's that I think Joe Biden's stresses have been the type that would help him in this scenario. So I think whenever they're getting close, Joe's just going to pummel him, and then he's going to let Trump try and follow him around. Trump's going to wear down, and then he's going to come in and he's just going to keep trying to wail on him until Trump gives up.
Okay. All right. And yeah, I can see that starting out, you know, like when they both have the most energy, I can see Joe just dancing. He's just going to be dancing around as much as he can. But I think Trump's going to bide his time. He's going to bide his time. He's going to let, you know, maybe like, you know, just some time to run out, let Joe get a couple jabs in, let him just use up as much energy as he can until we get later. And, you know, we were talking about stamina before. And, you know, I believe Trump does have some stamina just based off of what we've seen of rallies. But, you know, you can argue otherwise based off of his physical health. But I think, you know, let Joe kind of get that initial energy out until it's kind of like, okay, Joe's kind of starting to slow down now. He's kind of being a little more methodical in how he's doing his punches. Then Trump's going to come in. He's going to try to tackle him as best he can. If Joe moves out of the way, Trump's just going to get back up. He's going to roll out of the way and just come back at him. Or he's going to wait. He's going to wait till Joe comes in close, getting ready to punch, and then Trump's just going to go for it. That way, Joe is probably either least likely to expect getting taken, or he's going to be going ahead and laying the punch, but he's going to have to be taking a hit while doing it. Kind of imagine like a quarterback throwing a pass. Instead, it's a punch, and he's getting tackled by the linebacker. So we'd have to see how that would turn out. But I think it's going to be really, really close either way. Because, again, we have two different guys with two different attitudes, different mentalities, different histories. Roughly same age, roughly same height. Weight's obviously different. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be either really entertaining or really ugly. And I'd love it if it actually happened in real life. That'd be something to really bet money on. But yeah, if you have anything else.
Well, coming up here toward the end, I just want to say Call Out is a really cool platform, and all you guys should totally look into it. The timers up here at the top let you keep track of how much time you have left, and then you just pass the microphone back to your opponent when you're done speaking. It's a really easy format to follow, and I'd really advocate for you to check it out and use it to have debates with your friends and have your friends watch and find out what everybody's thinking. So as far as the fight, let's talk for a minute about weapons. So I think weapons are mostly off the table as far as the original intent of this debate, but I think we've mostly said what we're going to say when it comes to just, you know, knuckles and knees and elbows. So with that, what sort of fight do you see it as far as with a light sword versus a gun? And then you can pick another weapon after that. So with light swords, I see Biden as being more coordinated and agile, and I think that he'd take Trump down. With guns, I really don't know. Joe Biden has at least said that he shoots guns. You know, he says he has that shotgun, but I don't know. I think the gun part, if they were using guns, it might go in Trump.
Yeah, with light, man. Wow, weapons. I hadn't even considered, but that's fun. That's really fun. With swords, I would probably have to agree with you. It would probably go in Joe's favor just because of that nimbleness. I see it becoming more of a fencing match than like a duel at that point. With guns, yeah, Joe's going to have that shotgun, obviously, because that's all you need. All you need is the shotgun. You don't need anything else. With Trump, you know, Trump has made his stance on guns very vague. You know, very vague. Like, you know, he's obviously very for guns, very for Second Amendment rights, unless you're on a watch list. Then you have no rights. So with his stance on guns, I am not sure. He says he's always carrying, or at least sometimes. He doesn't want you to know. But what is he carrying? So I feel like if it is guns, it's going to be more in Trump's favor because he's unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, so with that unpredictability, that's that X factor that I think goes in Trump's favor. Now, if we want to talk about like some other weapons, let's like throw in some like nunchucks in here. I don't know why. I can imagine some really fun fan art of like a Donald Trump in nunchucks, like just looking really cool, and then Joe Biden being like this master martial artist with a bow staff, either the bow staff or just shurikens. I don't know. And I think with those, like some really like X Factor weapons that no one's really too sure of, I think it's going to come down to an even match. So I say swords is going to go Joe, guns is going to go Trump, and then whatever weapons, I think it's going to be an even fight where they're both just going to kill each other at the same time.
Yeah, with nunchucks, that just throws everything out the window. I mean, who knows? Maybe one of them has randomly trained with them at some point or something, or with a bow staff. So yeah, I think that could really go either way. How about with so I think let's keep it. You know, guns are technically an equalizer. That's partly why we like them, is because they allow somebody who's smaller to defend themselves against somebody who's bigger. And if both of them have guns, you know, it can be relatively even. It just depends on the skill level. So let's keep it to, you know, hand-to-hand weapons. And so I think with a sword, Joe would win. With nunchucks, we have no idea. Or with a bow staff, that's just crazy. But how about with a club? I'm gonna say that with, you know, just like a baseball bat or, you know, a caveman's club, that Trump would probably have the edge because he can probably get more.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be quick here with the time, but yeah. So club, I would say Trump, just because of him being able to get all the power behind it. Now it's just assuming like Joe's gonna be trying to come in close with his club as well. So if he's coming in close, Trump's definitely gonna have the advantage. But if Joe keeps his distance, you don't know. It could be pretty even. Yeah. So here I'm gonna turn it back to you, and if you want to, we can start wrapping it up with final statements. And you can put one last point in since you.
I think I clicked on the microphone to pass it to myself, and that's not how it works. So anyway, I have it now. And closing statements. Let's see. I think that Joe Biden he has done everything Trump has done as far as what we're discussing with stamina. You know, we're not talking about the little blue pills. We're just talking. We're just talking about, you know, being on the campaign trail, making speeches in big rooms. He's done all that. And then we actually have video evidence of him exercising and doing healthy things. You know, he seems to love his ice cream, but Donald Trump can't give up his fast food. Joe Biden obviously has taken care of his body, while Donald Trump, you know, not to, you know, say anything bad about the president-elect, but he really hasn't taken care of his body. It's obvious when you look at him, and all of the statements that he's made publicly, even when he was defending his medical history, have been against the idea that he takes care of himself. So I think that Joe Biden, you know, in a knuckles, you know, wrestling type environment, Biden's going to be dancing away from Trump. He's going to be hitting him hard when he gets close. And I think that the fact that he's scrappier, he hasn't had a soft life, I think that that's going to end up working in his favor. So I'm just going to leave these last few seconds here for thank you.
Yeah. So again, going back on health, Trump obviously has more weight, and he's a little taller, and he's a little younger. He's going to be taking that fight and using all the advantages he has with that weight. His doctor says he's going to be the healthiest president ever to hold the Oval Office. Granted, whether or not you believe that, I'll leave that up to you. But, you know, Trump says he's a winner. He's always going to win. He won the presidency beyond almost all expectations. So we don't know what his mentality would be in a fight. I think he would give it his all, and, you know, all he knows is to win. So I'm going to let you do your thank yous, and I've laid out my argument, and then I'll do my thank yous after.
All right. Well, thank you again to Call Out and Yams. This is a really cool platform. I ask that everybody check it out. And then also, Gage and I are both members of the Libertarian Party. We are advocates for liberty. We're working toward making a freer society, and we ask you to come join us. LP.org or 1-800-ELECT-US. Gage?
Yeah, and yes, thank you, Yazan, and thank you, Call Out, for letting us have this debate. It's been extremely fun. Yes, Timothy, thank you so much for doing this debate with me. It's been a great time. And yes, so guys, look at the Libertarian Party. I ran as a candidate in a special election, and now I'm the head of my county affiliate. Look at starting